As a scientist, I can tell you that Sundays are only 24 hours long. But with NFL Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV, you get every game every Sunday all in one place. That's upwards of 30 hours of NFL in one day. How can there be 30 hours in 24 hours, you ask? I have a theory. Magic. New users get NFL Sunday Ticket for 8 payments of $34.50 per month. Sign up at NFLSundayTicket.com. Local and national games on YouTube TV. NFL Sunday Ticket for out-of-market games excludes digital-only games and commercial use. Terms and embargoes apply. Availability varies.
Mint is still $15 a month for premium wireless. And if you haven't made the switch yet, here are 15 reasons why you should. 1, it's $15 a month. 2, seriously, it's $15 a month. 3, no big contrast. 4, I use it. 5, my mom uses it. Are you playing me off? That's what's happening, right? Okay, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
New Vitamin Water Zero Sugar Pineapple Passion Fruit is packed with vitamins. Just like the amount of peas we packed in that sentence. It's packed like your tote bag. The one you stole from your ex. Or your overpriced half a studio apartment. Or extra rushed rush hour traffic. Packed like your calendar. Triple booked at 5, of course. Grab a vitamin water. Did we mention it's packed with vitamins?
This episode is presented by State Farm. Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like expecting the leadership of a team captain on the football field, but getting a sea captain. You wouldn't settle for just anything for your team. Shouldn't it be the same for your insurance? So don't settle for just any insurance when you can go with a leader. State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
The family that vacations together stays together. At least, that was the plan. Except now, the Dastardly desk clerk is saying he can't confirm your connecting rooms.
Wait, what?
That's right, ma'am. You have rooms 201 and 709.
No, we cannot be 5 floors away from our kids.
The doors have double locks. They'll be fine.
When you want connecting rooms confirmed before you arrive, it matters where you stay.
Welcome to Hilton. I see your connecting rooms are already confirmed.
Hilton, for the stay.
Now we'll flip it over to the defensive side of the football for part 2, and let's get into that. Let's get into it, Jonny. Do you want to lead us off here, or do you want me to?
Let's do it. So I'm starting on both sides. This is unusual. So there's a few things on the defense that I liked, and seeing as J-Rock's in the chat, let's do Cooper DeJean first. J-Rock on the Discord, me and him have gone back and forth on DeJean. So let's talk about the first play of the game. So I thought DeJean was absolutely phenomenal in this game, and I basically just think he's a superstar, Shane. I think he's a superstar nickel already. So this play is absolutely fascinating. So full disclosure, I watched this play about 25 times yesterday, I reckon. And that's not an exaggeration. And then I got so frustrated with my read on it, I spoke to multiple Fangio guys, including Honest NFL and Sean Syed, who many of you will know. And the great thing about the NFL, Shane, is that anyone who tells you they know what they're talking about, they don't all the time, because both of them completely disagreed with each other. They don't know that, but they both had different opinions on this. I won't tell you what one that I agree with, because that would be unfair. But one of them was basically saying DeJean, so this is cover 6. So cover 6 is quarter, half. And the way cover 6 works is that basically DeJean is the flat defender, which means he plays like squat technique. So he's sitting on the out route. My gut was, and this is why I mentioned I'd talk about J-Rock, because he talks about DeJean moving outside. I think DeJean plays this wrong. And as I said, one of the film guys I messaged last night agrees with me. The other film guy does not. That's the joy of watching film. I think DeJean should play this high to low. And I think the way Fangio teaches this is play it high to low. And I think this is an example of DeJean's depth and leverage of these routes is perfect from the nickel. I don't think it's a coincidence that the one coverage bust, we're going to call it a bust, it's not a bust, but the one coverage mistake I think he makes is when he's playing outside in base. And it's only one play, and I'm not saying he shouldn't play outside in base. I think he absolutely should. So, yeah, Adam commented, Cooper's a cornerback in base. He is. This is only in base. But point being, like, I wouldn't move him because I want him in the nickel when they're playing when they're playing, as in I want him inside when they're playing nickel. I don't want him outside ever. And it just shows you how hard it is to actually play different roles How do you read this play, just out of interest? Do you think I'm being harsh on DeJean? Are you team person that agrees with me, or do you think he plays this correctly?
It's tough. I feel like either DeJean or Bond is wrong in this, like depending on how you want to do it. But for quarter half, if DeJean is supposed to be taking this lower route, then shouldn't he be getting more depth once the receiver turns outside to help carry? I mean, it's a good concept to target any sort of a
I think
cover
that's
two
the
half
thing.
of the
I'm not
field,
sure. I think
think
Bourne could get out there quicker.
Yeah. I think that...
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
I would prefer for DeJean to be going high to low here. Like, you got to respect that vertical threat.
He's too flat.
Regardless, I feel like he and Bond should be looking at this inside guy saying, if this, or the outside guy saying if he goes vertically, DeJean's got to get more depth and Bond's got to get out to the flat. So I would say that's a little on DeJean, but it's a good concept to dial up against.
And
that.
Adam just commented about how they play nickel like 80%. Yeah, sorry, Adam. I'm not saying that it's a problem. I'm saying that there are some people that want to move DeJean outside in nickel as well, because the outside cornerback position has been so weak through 2 weeks, and I would not move him. And I'll show you 2 plays, Shane, as to why I wouldn't move him. Because I think basically DeJean was just unbelievable in the slot in this game. So the first one I want to show was a little bit further down. There was a tackle, play 5 and then play 6 back to back. So play 5, he's just in coverage and he's got the flat and there's nothing really going on. The Chiefs end up checking it down to the flat. And the way DeJean reads this, because he's coming inside, because both the Chiefs receivers are running inside, he instantly recognizes that the running back is sneaking out to the flat. This is one-on-one with a running back in absolute, like, as much space. If this is the running back's dream, and I think it might be Pacheco, who, to be fair, doesn't have any wiggle in the slightest, but his open field tackling is so good. There's that play which you were like, that's what I want my nickel doing. Like that nickel safety hybrid. That's what you want. You want basically your nickel to be a corner and a safety in one, don't you? Is there anyone that fits the role better than DeJean? Like he's a corner and a safety in one. And then the next play.
That's actually Kareem Hunt, by the way.
Was it Kareem Hunt? Yeah, he also doesn't have much wiggle these days, to be fair. And then play 6 is just like Juju Smith-Schuster is not a small receiver. He's a big guy. And they're throwing us basically just a quick screen, and Juju Smith-Schuster is running straight into Cooper DeJean, and he just throws him off. Like, just get off me, and then tackles as well. Like, if my nickel corner can do that, the modern NFL, Shane, the motion, the playing to the flat, how much do modern defenses get stressed horizontally in the world we live in? Just think of like the Dolphins, think of the amount of speed there is at the receiver position. We don't really do the whole old school, we do have a few obviously, but there's less of like the Randy Moss down the field jump ball receivers. There's a lot more RPOs. There's a lot more RPOs with bubble screens attached. There's a lot of gadget. There's a lot of quick throws. This is the world we live in at the moment in the modern NFL. To have a nickel who can just blow for a receiver and blow up a screenplay is invaluable. Like, I think he's exceptional. There were other plays in this game I could have mentioned. I said this, I think last year, it was like, yeah, Quignon's a superstar, and then DeJean is like the tier below. I think through 2 weeks, DeJean's been better.
Agreed.
I know that's
100%.
And that's, I know it's nickel versus outside, and we've had this chat in the Discord about nickel getting paid less and stuff, but I don't think he's any less valuable to this team as a nickel defender than Quinyon Mitchell is outside.
He's more valuable.
Now, if DeJean was a 20th pick in the first round like Quinyon was, you'd think, wow, what a pick. I just think he's so intelligent and he's so physically gifted for that position. It's awesome. It's really cool to see.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to cover the points of mine out of the order I sent them to you, Jonny.
Oh, that's fine.
If that's all right. I'm
moving around all the time anyway.
Yeah. Let's talk about Mahomes scrambling, because that was a big thing in this game. He rushes for 60 yards in the first half, and that was the majority of their offense. He only rushed for 6 yards in the second half. And I think there was a common denominator. And this first play actually doesn't fit that, but I'm going to point it out as well. But just watch Nolan Smith on his pass rush here. And we've talked before, against mobile quarterbacks, you have to have rush lane integrity. And just watch how far upfield Nolan Smith runs here. Like, he's trying to turn the corner 11 yards deep. And you just can't do that. And it just gives Mahomes an easy window to escape out of on a 3rd and 1 to get a first down. So rush lane integrity is really important. And Nolan Smith doesn't do a good job with that one there. But that wasn't the main issue. I actually think the main issue came from the Eagles poorly executing stunts, and those were allowing Mahomes to escape. And so on this one, you've got Zach Bond lined up over the tackle, and the Eagles are going to try to like slant both defensive tackles that direction and loop Zach Bond around behind Jalen Carter, which is great as long as you time it up right. But in actuality, what happens is Zach Bond runs into Jalen Carter, who also just doesn't appear to really be firing off the ball here, to be honest. That's not a lot of effort there, in my opinion, from Carter. And I thought Carter had some good plays in this game. This was definitely not one of them. You tell me. But that contact allows Mahomes to get out. And then, of course, Makuba is not able to bring him down, and he scrambles for the first down. Here we're going to have another stunt gone wrong. This is going to be an ET stunt, which means the end goes first and the tackle is looping around the edge. The problem with stunts like this is now you've got a defensive tackle who is generally not as quick as your edge rusher in contain. And so Jalen Carter is trying to turn the corner here, and he slips and he ends up on the ground, and it gives Mahomes a lane to scramble. And he doesn't just scramble, he scrambles for a touchdown on this one. And so stunts were an issue, I think, in this game. And this one's not a scramble, but this one's still a tackle twist. And so you can watch the defensive tackles and they run into each other. This time it's Moro Ojimo and Jalen Carter. And so the Eagles will try to run some stunts and things. And, you know, maybe it's a byproduct of Carter missing last week and just being out of practice because he was involved in a couple of them. But that's something they're going to have to get cleaned up, or they're just going to have to stop doing, because I think it was the major reason why Mahomes was able to scramble the way that he did.
Yeah, let's just be real, Shane. Carter was not physically there this week. A bit weird, week 2 of the season. I think Vic Fangio sort of gave him a pass and said, like, our practices aren't that long anymore and you have to get up to speed. But he wasn't there. He'll be there, but it's just filed it away, and a little bit of a concern. I wrote this, and it hasn't been published yet for BGN this week, Shane. This was what I wrote in the for play 2 of my film thread. I said, one of my only real frustrations with Vic Fangio's scheme is how it sometimes treats quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes, who are good athletes but not elite runners. Basically, I think Fangio has a plan if you're like Lamar Jackson or Kyler Murray and you run a lot. But those quarterbacks that are like mobile enough to punish sloppy rush lanes, I don't think we do enough differently. Like, I think 7 rushes for 66 yards is too easy. And I think, in all honesty, they were easy rushes as well. Now, you can and also the Eagles play so much zone, you'd think it would be not as much of a problem because they're not a heavy man coverage defense, and man coverage is often when you don't have eyes on the quarterback. But sometimes where they zone match, they can get so, like, basically because they match, it sounds obvious, they don't drop to a zone, they match where the receivers go. Sometimes their zone coverage can be all over the place. Like, so you look in the middle of the field and there's no one there because the Chiefs don't have anything in the middle. The Eagles just don't bother matching anything in the middle. This is a good example. So you look up and that whole there's just nothing there. So I think, like, they have to come up with something. It's either rush lane integrity. It's either sometimes defensive tackles can rush, but they don't really fully get after the quarterback. They can just, like, have a look.
Which, by the way,
in general,
on this one, why is there such a big rush lane? Jalen Carter ends up on the ground.
Yeah, he gets wrecked. Yeah, Yakko did comment as well, saying it was hot as hell. Yeah, I'll give him a pass. I'm not going to talk about Carter because I think he'll be fine.
Carter had some good plays
physically
too.
Ready.
By the way,
he
had some good moments.
He did. So I do think that was a really good point to mention, the quarterback running, and I've mentioned it in my article this week. I think Fangio has specific plans. I put this for elite runners, but I think sometimes it's the mobile but not really mobile quarterbacks that can cause us more trouble. And I think the Eagles do need to have a plan for it, because 7 rushes for 66 yards on some quite key downs as well is too easy. Right, let's take my second defensive point. I've done the Gene. So let's go to blitzing the quarterback. I'm sure many of you have seen the statistics, but Patrick Mahomes, I think he was 3 for 10 when the Eagles bought 5 or more. The Eagles wrecked them this week. In the first half in particular, were blitzing. And I could show multiple examples, but I'll show a couple. I think the best thing in this game about the Eagles blitzing was that it was incredibly unpredictable who was coming and who wasn't. And when we think of a Fangio defense, we think of sim pressure. So we think of all 4 are coming, but you don't know what for. This week it was 5 are coming. but you don't know what 5. Because on most plays, there was a chance that 6 could have come, and then only 5 did. So I'll start with play 3 on my film thread. We spoke a lot about late rotation from linebacker of Zach Bourne to edge last year. The Eagles have been doing it more with Jahar Campbell this year. This is the latest rotation you will ever see. And I think they're actually late. I think they probably mean to rotate like on the snap. I think they're genuinely just like a second late. Like I think he's meant to be there by now. So they probably get a bit lucky, but it actually creates like the best late rotation of all time because the 2 Chiefs tight ends are like, what the hell is going on? And when you watch it though, again, look how many people could come. That was the key thing this week. It's almost like they usually send 4 and 5 could come. This week it was we're going to send 5 and 6 could come. If you pause it pre-snap and you look at what Mahomes is looking at, I think there's absolutely a possibility that Bourne could blitz on this play, Campbell could blitz on this play, and DeJean could blitz on this play. They could easily send 7. And I think the Chiefs were caught out and they didn't know where to slide. And I think Fangio was just in his bag. And Mahomes was really poor against the blitz because he basically didn't see where pressure was coming. There was a really, really good example of this. And by the way, it's a ridiculous play by Zach Bourne, but what else can you say about Zach Bourne, Shane?
Yeah.
There's one play that I really liked. It was the Makuba sack, actually. Makuba was going to be my final point, so I won't talk about the sack. In terms of looking at Makuba in this particular example. But this is a really nice example because when you blitz, right, let's speak obviously, if you look at pre-snap, right, if Makuba comes here, which he does, if your safety is 15 yards further forward, so imagine he's right behind him, the whole world knows it's a blitz. So the only way you can do this is he is going to be open immediately at the snap. Like, there's no way you can blitz. A really good quarterback sees Makuba blitzing, throws it straight to him on a hot. That is open 10 times out of 10 because it just simply has to be. So the only way you can actually get free is if the quarterback doesn't see you coming. And people said Mahomes missed him. Mahomes didn't miss him. He just wasn't looking that direction. It's not his first read.
I swear, if you watch the back view of this play, Mahomes looks at Makuba on his first step and then just looks away. I have no idea.
Really interesting.
What?
Maybe it's something they're doing deliberately, unlike the Eagles. They didn't want to throw into it. But it's very poor if so, because the second the corner's blitzing, you just throw it where he was. You just throw to the vacated area. And it's a good example of when you send 5, there's always a risk. This could have been a completion, easily. Sometimes when you blitz, they get completions. But I think the way the Eagles blitzed, I think the Chiefs couldn't handle who was coming and who wasn't. Once again, this is another example, Shay, where he blitzes, but somebody else could have come as well. It doesn't have to be Makuba. And I think, long story short, the Chiefs just couldn't predict who was actually coming. And it meant that they weren't prepared for it. And the Eagles had some really, really good success with sending 5 in the first half in particular. I thought the Chiefs were very slow to adapt.
What? So here's the back view. Watch Mahomes' eyes as the ball's coming to him. Like, his first glance is...
That is so quick, man, though. That's tough. He does.
His first glance is at Makuba, who you can see coming from off screen.
Yeah, maybe, but then by now he's already gone. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's wrong. It's a terrible play by Mahomes, if so. And Mahomes was not good against the blitz. And I put this in my article as well, that you're watching Jalen Hurts play the blitz versus Patrick Mahomes. There's no competition this week. One quarterback was far more...
Yeah.
Casual against it. And this is not a scheme thing. It's not an Andy Reid thing. The guy's open.
And the guy's running hot. The center opens left. So who Mahomes should be checking is over here. This is where he's hot, and he misses it. So, I put out the stat when I tweeted this clip that Mahomes was like, I think it was over -1 EPA per dropback against the blitz in this game. So, really bad.
That's mad, isn't it? Really bad. Yeah. Right. A few more, Shane. Not bring us home yet, actually, because you've got 2 indeed.
Yeah. I want to talk about Adoree Jackson. Jackson, we hated in the preseason. I'm intrigued at your
thoughts. I'm intrigued because I'll save mine for after you. I want to hear what you got to say about this one.
Okay. So this first play, I just think is really cool. He's at the top of the screen, and so you can't see him right now, but you'll be able to. But the Chiefs are going to run mesh. And the Eagles are in cover 1. And I just want you to watch Zach Bond. This could easily be a Zach Bond play too. But Zach Bond and Adoree Jackson coming from off screen. They do such a good job passing this off. And so it's a drag route. And Zach Bond picks this up and Adoree Jackson spins out and he's the whole defender now. And I thought that was so cool. And I thought just seeing them communicate that way, I thought that was really high level stuff from them.
And sorry, Shane, that's also why I think Fangio in general would like experienced players with reps in the scheme. It's hard to ask young guys with no experience to do that.
Yes, and that's very fair. This second one, he is aligned in off coverage here, and he has excellent click and close on this. So he's got no help over the top. This is cover 3. He's responsible for the deep zone. So look how quickly he clicks and closes downhill. This is really good stuff until he just whiffs the tackle. So got to tackle, but the coverage and the click and close, I think, is good there. This was probably one of my favorite reps of the game for him. He is at the top of the screen. This is 3rd and 5, and it's Hollywood Brown, who ran a 4.2740 at his pro day. He did run at the combine back then, but at his pro day, ran a 4.27, which means it's probably a 4.35, right? But regardless, he's very fast. And he's going to run a double move, an out route, an out and up that breaks at the sticks. And that is so hard not to take the bait on 3rd down. And I think he does a really good job of staying on this route. And so you can watch. I think he does a good job of, like, if this isn't out, he might be beat. He'll probably be able to make it a tougher catch, but he does a good job of flipping his hips. And I mean, Hollywood Brown gets a step on him. That's going to be a hard throw. Mahomes misses it. You know, we saw CeeDee Lamb drop one that was a good throw on a play like that. That's just a tough play to make. And so I thought he did a good job of making that one difficult. And then on this one, he's at the bottom of the screen. And I think this is just really good coverage. I mean, you could maybe argue like he should do a better job of, you know, his leverage should be a little different. He should be splitting the inside and not get beat to the inside. But he walks up to press, and he's right there at the catch point. And it's a great throw and catch, but he makes it difficult. And so overall, I thought Adoree Jackson had a lot better game. Now, I do actually kind of want to cover part of my third point here because it also involves him. And
do you want to do it, Shane? Combine him because this was the worst play of the game. Yeah,
I'm not going to double cover, but my third point is coverage busts, and there's 2 of them, and I can save the second one, but the first one involves Adoree Jackson. So
I've only got one. Yeah, do it.
So the Eagles are running quarters here, and we've talked about quarters before. Quarters means that our outside cornerback should have our number 1 receiver if he goes vertically. And then our safety should have the number 2 if he goes vertically. And so how this is going to play out is we're going to get sort of an inside release into a corner route, I guess, and an out route. So both of these meet the qualifications for going vertically. Adoree Jackson should be carrying this number 1 receiver. Now, there's some coverage checks you can do. You could like palms this to read it where you're going to take the outbreaker and pass that one off. I don't think that's what's happening here. Reed Blankenship certainly doesn't think that's what's happening here because he is all about this out route. And so I'm just going to assume that Reed Blankenship doesn't blow an assignment here. But you can see he drives down. Now, he's going to end up running into Adoree Jackson. And it leads to a coverage bust that's wide open, and Patrick Mahomes, the media's favorite quarterback, just airmails it from a clean pocket. But the tush push is why they lost. But if you look at Jackson, I don't understand what he's doing. Like, for one, if he's responsible for carrying this vertically, he is playing so far outside without having inside help right now. And for number 2, like, even at that, if you're just going to close on this, if it goes across the middle of the field, it's going to be hard to pause it here. But the way that he like twists his shoulders so much and starts to turn, I don't know what he's doing. Like, does he sense Reed Blankenship and thinks he's getting, I don't understand his technique and what he does here. You know, generally I'm going to say the guy coming downhill needs to avoid the guy that's turning and looking over his shoulder running uphill. But that's just not where he should be. And so I'm putting this one on Adoree Jackson. I think he's covering the right guy. I'm just not sure why he's like falling back like that. And so this easily could have been a touchdown. And that's a coverage bust that I'm willing to say is like 95% Adoree Jackson's fault. What are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, we've already overrun, so I won't talk too much about this particular play. But I was gutted because, you want my honest opinion, Shane? I thought he played well.
Yeah.
I said in the preview that the Chiefs were going to go 4 strong and target him, and he was fine. he was actually fine. When I watched him last year for the Giants, I thought he was fine. He was still good in this game, but then he does that. And it's so infuriating because it's a really bad bust. And it's like, oh, come on. We don't even need you to be brilliant. Just don't do that. Because if you're average with coverage busts every week, then it's a nightmare. So it's a real shame because I thought he played well. And I think the Eagles made the right decision to keep playing him, in all honesty, because every play I saw of Jacory and Bennett, he's got two arms around the receiver. So I'm not convinced. I think the Eagles' best chance to not get PI every drive will be Adoree Jackson. Tell you what, Shane, should we just do the last play of the game? The last defensive coverage bust, seeing as you've already mentioned it. Should we just do it now? Because I think this is one of the most interesting plays of the entire week. And then I'll finish us off on a positive. And we're already overrunning, of course. So,
okay. So
this play can be read in so many ways. I'm interested to hear your take on it, and then I'll give you my take after, seeing as it's your point. You start us off.
Okay, so here's what I've got. This is cover 3. And so because this is cover 3 and the way Fangio wants to match and the fact that we're going to a trips formation here, the way you're typically going to do this is Andrew Makuba on the backside has this receiver if he goes vertically. If not, he should be dropping into a deep third. On the other side, we've got receivers. Our outside most receiver is number 1. We number him outside to in, right? 1, 2, 3. Our outside most receiver is right here, Quinyon Mitchell. Number 2 should be Reed Blankenship. Number 2 should be Cooper DeJean. Number 3 should be Reed Blankenship. Where it gets tricky is, well, let's just play it out first. The first mistake is that Andrew Makuba just doesn't get depth. And that's the first domino to fall. So if Andrew Makuba gets depth, Reed Blankenship probably releases this crosser. He's probably underneath this post, and none of this probably happens. So my primary fault.
Yeah, we disagree.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. My primary fault, I'm going to put this on Makuba. But there's a miscommunication here between Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean because we can't know that Andrew Makuba is not going to be occupied vertically. So we have to be able to cover these 3 routes from these 3 guys without Makuba's help. And they just can't do that. And here's why. Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell get mixed up. And so the number 1 receiver is the guy that's on the outside. Well, when they snap this ball, who's the outside guy? It's really tough, right? I mean,
yeah,
they read this out differently. And so what they're going to do...
It's a really good play call. They're
both going to follow this wheel route, which is on the outside, and then this post route comes here. My gut instinct, and I don't know how the Eagles are told to do this, my gut instinct is that on any sort of switch release like this on a motion, I would declare this guy the number 1. Even though he's snapped inside, he immediately becomes outside. So I would say that's Quinyon Mitchell's guy, and the guy running the post route is Cooper DeJean's guy. And so,
yeah, see, it's funny. I see it differently.
Yeah, so they both follow the wheel.
Because of his position, I think DeJean takes the wheel, and DeJean is correct to take the wheel. And I think that when you look at it here, like right now, just go back for like 3 seconds, Quinyon's passing him off. But I'm like, why? Why are you passing him off? Because DeJean, we know the Fangio defense, when they run, if they send like 3 vertical routes, the nickel or whoever will normally track back as well. He will cover it deep. So I think Quinyon has to sense danger, and I think Quinyon has to get on the post now. I think Quinyon's late. I think even if Makuba gets a little bit more depth, I think Blankenship's going to carry the crosser to him anyway. So I think this is a really tough one, but I think this is Quinyon. Just the way I view it.
Interesting. So to me, I don't know. To me personally, I would call that wheel route that DeJean latches onto the number 1 receiver.
Here's the question, Shane. Just like, look at where Makuba is. Even if Makuba's 10 yards back, I think Blankenship has to carry that. Like, I think Blankenship's carrying that to Makuba.
I think Makuba should be, like, as soon as Makuba recognizes his guy's not vertical, he should be back.
But even if he is,
I think
Blankenship is going to
have to.
I think Blankenship will have to take him a little bit. That's my gut.
Yeah, I would be interested to know what Fangio says.
Running a post, just be honest, Shane. If DeJean's playing the flat in this or whatever, I can't imagine him carrying the deep vertical post. That's a hell of a long way to go. Look at where he starts. Like, I think immediately DeJean takes the outside guy. Like, I think it's basically done there. I think from now on, even if there's a bust at the start, from now on, when you hit play, literally play a second, right, Quinion's got to get to the vertical guy.
Yeah.
I think that guy's instantly DeJean's guy. So I think it's on Quinion. And just, by the way, in the preview, I said one thing from the Chiefs Week 1 film was they ran a ton of deep crossing routes, free to a side, to stress communication on the back end. And
it's funny how crossing routes can lead to big plays.
Yeah, literally, that's what they did. I called it. I kid you not. I was like, wow, they're running loads of this. They did loads against the Chargers. And that's why you do it. You test communication, because even the very, very best defenses can make errors. And yeah, it's a beautiful pass. And the Quinion's recovery is unbelievable. But
yeah.
I'm going to put it on Quinion.
I would love to hear
probably
somebody
spend forever
ask
discussing
Fangio.
this, couldn't we? Yeah.
I would love to get the actual answer from Fangio. Like, how should this play out? Because I'm not sure.
Oh, it'd be amazing,
but,
wouldn't it? Instead, they'll ask something absolutely hopeless. I will just say, I didn't message both my guys yesterday. I believe, Sean was on Quinion as well.
Sean was?
But it's really tough. And even he was like, I don't really know. I think a lot of it comes down to whether you think Makuba makes an error. I think if you think Makuba's deep, then Blankenship takes, then it all plays perfectly. My gut is Blankenship's going to cover the crossing route anyway, because traditionally the Fangio safeties will cover those deep crossing routes, even if they're covering them to someone else. I think Quinion's got to take the deep route. Shane, we said we're going to be quicker, and we never are, because then one play takes us forever. I went to bed late last night because there was 3 plays in this game.
It's always your fault.
There was literally play 1 in the game for DeJean, the Jackson bust, and that bust. I kid you not, I spent an hour on those 3 plays yesterday, and then wondered why I went to bed late and I hadn't written anything, because I was staring at them repeatedly. I'm going to finish very, very quickly. I'm just going to mention Andrew Makuba. We've already showed him blitz, so I don't need to show that play. We've already possibly shown that possible coverage bust. I just want to show one more play, and it was play 8 on my film thread. I think the really cool thing about this play is I don't think Makuba's perfect. He got blown up by Mahomes in this game, which was a little embarrassing, let's be real. And he's not the biggest guy, but he does come downhill very quick. But he's a former cornerback, and former cornerbacks know how to play nickel cornerback. So normally when you face a crossing route, by the way, another crossing route, Shane, causing problems. Anyway, normally the Eagles will use a linebacker, and you'll almost pass him off, and Bourne will then run across with him. But this is one of the only times I think they're playing like a spy. And Bourne is actually basically just staring at Mahomes, which means Makuba has to run all the way across. A safety who has no cornerback experience probably runs directly into everyone, and this is a big play. When you've got cornerback experience, you know how to avoid traffic because you've repped this before. He's probably been a man coverage in college on shallow crossing routes all day long, and he plays it perfectly. His angle's great, his timing of it's just a really, really nice play. And in particular, I think it shows that he's a former corner, because this is not, I don't think Blankenship can do this. He can do lots of things, Blankenship, but he's not doing this play because he's running directly into Bourne. I think Makuba, basically the way I'm thinking at the moment is I think every week he might give up something, and I think you might go, I think he's at fault there, but I think he's going to make big plays, and I think he's going to have the ability to do some really cool things in coverage. So I've been impressed after 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think he played well in this game. I think there's some things that maybe he messed up on. Overall, I've liked what I've seen from Makuba through 2 games. And by the way, if you would like some more on Makuba, Eric did a wonderful All-22 watch along for the player spotlight in our $7 a month tier on Patreon. So if you're interested, our $7 a month tier gets you a film preview from Jonny, and it gets you a player spotlight where we watch every snap from a player you guys vote for in a specific game. So Eric and I rotate doing that each week. So not to just continually advertise that, but this podcast is kind of a sampling, honestly, of a ton of full-length stuff that we do in the Patreon. So there's more All-22 stuff in there than you can probably consume in an average given week. So come check that out if you would like more stuff like that. But I do think that's going to about do it for this one. Jonny, any final thoughts that you want to throw out before we get out of here?
No, not really. I think we covered it pretty well. Just, what you said about the Patreon. I'm also doing the preview stuff, and I'm hoping to have something on BGN moving forward with preview stuff, so you won't just read film reviews from me. There'll be a little preview as well. So, the content continues on. The NFL season is always an absolute grind in a good way. There was some really cool stuff in this week to check out, so if you haven't read the film reviews that I do for Bleeding Green, have a look at it. The offense one as well, I would just say, as someone who doesn't particularly like writing, but has written for 5 years every week for a publication, sometimes you write something and you think, I actually like the way that came out. And I think the way I analysed the offense this week, I think I wrote well, which is nice, because sometimes I'm rushing this thing. So if you haven't read that, I've got a lot more thoughts on the passing game and 2x2. Have a look at it. And that's currently buzzing on Bleeding Green. It's got like 150 comments and people are very positive. So that's always awesome. So if you do engage with me on there, that's really cool to see as well. So thank you.
All right. Thank you guys very much for joining us for this episode of the Film Review Show. Again, if you're listening on podcasting platforms, our film threads are on Twitter if you want to follow along that way. Or you can head over to the YouTube and you can watch the video and you can see it while you listen to us talk, whatever works for you guys. But thank you so much for supporting the podcast feed, the Patreon. We really appreciate you guys. And we will be back next week to break down a hopeful Eagles victory over the Los Angeles Rams. We'll catch you guys then. Your season, your shot. The NFL season is rolling and every touchdown can bring you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. From first touchdown score to anytime touchdown props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. And this one is specifically for new customers who can bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus over $200 off of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code PINPULL. That's code PINPULL to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet, plus over $200 off of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That is 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Fees may apply in Illinois. Void in Ontario. Bonus bet expires 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer.
This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. Psst, healthcare pros. Word's out, and it's too good to keep quiet. Look, LinkedIn is revolutionizing job hunting, making it possible to search by specialty, shift preference, and salary. Endless scrolling is out. Whether it's a mental health therapist or dental hygienist, finding the perfect role is faster and easier than ever. Head to linkedin.com/healthcare and start your search today.
This episode is sponsored by Friskies, who would like to tell your cats hi. Now, if that didn't get your cat's attention, there is one thing that always does the trick. Just pour some Friskies crunchy food in the bowl and you'll hear those paws come running. Works every time. With so many Friskies choices, you can always bring your cats running from their secret napping spots. There's always more to explore. See for yourself at Friskies.com or visit your local store.
You're tuned into Auto Intelligence, live from Auto Trader, where data, tools, and your preferences sync to make your car shopping smooth.
They're searching inventory.
Oh, yeah.
They find what you need.
They're gonna find it.
You can make a budget for your wallet to help you succeed. Pricing's precise and true.
So true.
It's smarter car shopping.
Ooh.
Just for you.
Oh, it's just for you. Ooh. Find your next ride at autotrader.com. Powered by Auto Intelligence.
If you thought goldenly breaded McDonald's chicken couldn't get more golden, think Golder, because new sweet and smoky special edition gold sauce is here. Made for your chicken favorites at participating McDonald's for a limited time.